This classic combination of vegetables is traditionally heavy and oily, used almost like preserves on toast, especially after this dish has suffered the indignity of being turned into a one-pot stew by cooks trying to make everything simple and easy. A proper ratatouille must have each component cooked separately so that it retains its individual flavor. If you're putting everything into a slow cooker, you are not making ratatouille, you're making a vegetable stew, which is not what ratatouille is. What I've done here is to lighten the density to make it more in keeping with modern tastes, but also to keep all of the individual flavors alive.
The mise en place for this dish is going to require some treatment of 4 different vegetables: the tomatoes, zucchini, eggplant, and I'm using orange bell pepper. Each of these are going to be prepared in a different way separately first. The potatoes and the onion will also be prepared, but those come later. Those are going to be made into the base, as you'll see. But first we have to take care of this. I've sliced the eggplant, some slices of eggplant here on a mandolin with a ceramic blade, and I'm going to lay these out and put some salt on them. The old days you would salt eggplant in order to make it less bitter. This isn't going to be bitter anyway, I just need to dry it out and to get rid of some of the moisture out of it. So we put that down. I'm going to put another plate over the top of it and then start dealing with the zucchini. And we have the same sort of thing, only I sliced this 2 millimeters thick, the eggplant 3 millimeters, zucchini 2 millimeters. It's already been salted. I put a couple of layers of paper towel over that, put plate down on it, put pan or something heavy on it, put some weight on it, let this sit. Now we'll go to the next to a hot pan with some olive oil, and put the sliced up bell pepper. This is after 12 minutes on a medium heat. You can start to see some little bit of browning around the edges of the pepper. May be difficult to see in the video, I'm not sure. You see this little bit of golden color? That's 12 minutes in. Now I'm going to add the sliced garlic. Continue cooking this a little bit more, of course. And after another 3 minutes, total of 15 minutes cooking time for the peppers, 3 minutes for the garlic. This is finished. I transferred it to a little bowl to wait until we're ready for it. The tomato I've sliced with a serrated knife. I'm going to add some basil, about a tablespoon of basil. I'm using stuff that's past its prime here because it won't make any difference. It doesn't have to look beautiful. And I have a little bit of dried oregano flowers. You probably won't have these. They're kind of hard to find unless you grow your own. You can use a little pinch of fresh oregano. Not quite the same thing, but it's good. And a little black pepper, a pinch of sugar, a little salt, and just mix this together and let that sit and kind of marinate until we're ready for that. The eggplant has been under here for half an hour now, and it's just about right. I'm going to put this into the deep fryer, get these pieces cooked in oil, and then we'll set those off to the side. I'm doing them in 2 batches. After about 2 minutes, this is what we get. They're not exactly crisp, but they're cooked enough that they'll finish now in the oven when we're done. On the zucchini, all I've done is change the paper a couple of times. So they're just sitting there salted, still drying out more. I'm going to go back, put the weight back on them, and leave these sit for a while longer while we now begin making the pastry sort of. Into the food processor blender mixing cup, I've got 45 grams of flour already weighed out. I'm going to add 2 whole eggs and an egg yolk to this. I've got 45 grams of sour cream, $60 grams of onion. I chopped it up a little bit just to get it started so the food processor would have an easier time with it. And 60 grams of potatoes. This is a very well cooked potato. And then I gave a garlic quick chop. I'm also going to add about half a teaspoon of salt to this. The potatoes were cooked with salt, so they have some salt on them. A little black pepper. And we're going to hit it with a stick blender and make it into a puree here. And here's our puree of the ingredients, the batter. I've got a pan heating here, non-stick pan. And we're going to cook this just like we're cooking pancakes, basically. Just take a ladle of the batter so that you get consistent results. Tip the pan around, get it to come out to one layer here. Now if the edges are not completely even, that's okay. That's gonna work out just fine. Don't worry if this little bit here. That's gonna be just fine in the final product. After about 3 minutes, something like that, it should be set enough. You can flip it. And you just repeat the same process with the next batch of batter, and you're going to transfer this off to a plate, you know, just basically like you're making pancakes, but we're not quite done with it yet. Okay, here we have the 4 of them that came out of the pan. Now these are quite delicate at this point, you have to handle them carefully. These are going to go into the freezer for about 10 minutes just to chill them down. In a second 20 centimeter pan, this one is much heavier, I put 200 milliliters of olive oil. It's enough to put, I don't know, a centimeter layer or so on here, and we're going to sort of deep fry these. But you can do it in a regular deep fryer. You can throw them in a deep fryer. The result will be oily, and you really want that olive oil taste in this. That's part of the flavor. So we're going to fry them in olive oil. Make sure the oil is up to temperature. Make sure that when you put it in, you have it going away from yourself, not towards yourself, so you don't splash oil on yourself like that. Fry this. After a few seconds, turn it over. Some nice air pockets in there. Oh, that's good. Now you're going to drain it. And we're going to lift it over to some paper towels. Press it dry a little bit. Then we'll be ready to put this into the first cup. Now, you can do this all the way up to here in advance. Just line these up between sheets of paper and store them until you're ready. And fold it a little bit, and you're going to stick it down into a cup like this so that it's kind of cone shaped inside. Now we begin lining these with the vegetables. This is an oily surface on here basically because it's just deep fried, so we get this dry zucchini that goes in next to it, and we're going to put the eggplant next to that. So we've got the zucchini sandwiched between the oil of the pastry and the oil of the eggplant, and that'll help cook it. I'm going to do the next cup here. Just take them each one in sequence. Okay, went around to all the cups with the zucchini. Now we come around and we start stuffing them with the deep fried eggplant. Just divide it out so that you've got enough. I got 4 slices for each one of these, and then again same thing, go to the next cup, proceed. And by now the tomatoes lost a lot of moisture, so I'm going to put these on a sieve, drain all this out. We don't want to add all this tomato juice in here. Get these nice and patted, as not completely dry, but get rid of all that liquid. We don't want to pour this in. And then we begin putting the tomato pieces in here. We come to the bell pepper and garlic that was sauteed, and that goes in here. It's again the same thing, divided out amongst all 4 containers here.
Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.